Some people do not play the victim because they have no power. They play the victim because it protects them from using their power differently. The victim role can become a hiding place, a place where someone can avoid responsibility, avoid shame, avoid change, avoid looking at the pattern they keep repeating. Because if everything is always someone else's fault, then they never have to ask the hardest question. What part did I play in this? That question requires courage. It is much easier to say, they made me do this. Life is against me. The nobody understands me. I had no choice. This is just how I am. And sometimes people really have been hurt. Sometimes people really have experienced unfairness, rejection, betrayal, or pain. But there is a difference between being hurt and building your whole identity around helplessness. There is a difference between having a painful story and using that story to excuse every mistake. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And this is what happens when people never examine themselves. They keep repeating the same behavior, the same conflicts, the same failures, the same excuses. But instead of asking, why does this keep happening? They say, this always happens to me. That sentence feels innocent, but sometimes it hides responsibility, because the victim mindset can give quick emotional relief. If I am only the victim, I do not have to change. If I'm always misunderstood, I do not have to listen. If everyone else is the problem, I do not have to grow. If my past explains everything, I do not have to face my present choices. That is why the victim role can feel comfortable, not because it feels happy, but because it feels safe. It protects the ego from guilt. It gives someone a reason to stay the same. It turns failure into proof that the world is unfair, instead of feedback that something needs to change, but the cost is high. Because the more someone plays the victim, the more they give away their power. They become trapped in a story where they are always waiting for someone else to change, apologize, rescue them, understand them, or make life easier. And slowly they stop asking what they can do differently. They stop seeing their own choices. They stop growing. Maya Angelou said, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." That is emotional maturity. Not pretending you were never hurt, not denying what happened, but refusing to let pain become an excuse to keep hurting yourself or others. A mature person can say, yes, I was hurt, but I am still responsible for how I heal. Yes, life was unfair, but I still have choices. Yes, I made mistakes, but I can learn from them. Yes, my past shaped me, but it does not have to control every decision I make. That is where growth begins. The victim mindset says, because I suffered, I do not need to change. Healing says, because I suffered, I must become more conscious. And that difference changes everything, because some people do not want healing. They want permission to keep the same behavior without feeling guilty. They want sympathy, but not self-reflection. They want understanding, but not accountability. They want people to forgive them, but they do not want to face the damage they caused, and this is why relationships with them feel exhausting. You try to explain your pain, and somehow they become the injured one. You bring up their behavior, and suddenly you're attacking them. You ask for change, and they remind you of everything they have been through, so the conversation never reaches responsibility. It keeps returning to their wound, but wounds do not give people permission to avoid growth. Pain explains behavior. It does not excuse every behavior. At some point, healing requires honesty. The honesty to say, I have been using my pain as protection. I've been avoiding responsibility. I've been calling myself powerless because power would require me to change. That kind of honesty is uncomfortable, but it is also freeing. Because the moment you stop using your story as an excuse, you can start using it as wisdom. You're no longer only asking, why did this happen to me? You begin asking, well, what can I become after this? And that is the difference between staying stuck and becoming stronger. The victim role may protect the ego, but responsibility protects the future, because you cannot change what you keep blaming on everyone else, and you cannot heal from a pattern you keep refusing to see. Quiet Psychology. Thank you for watching.